come on today. I did a video earlier and I was going to do it for my Instagram page, but it was too long. So I just decided I will do it here on my beloved YouTube page. I want to do a video on how a lot of times, what we think is of God or coming from God is not from God. It's from people. So I want to speak to that because I did a video on why meditation is so important. And, I guess I can go into detail with that here just briefly. Meditation has been extremely helpful to me. The reason being is that it allows me to slow down the mind. It allows me to go within and to really go into a place or a space of clarity, inner clarity. It allows me to go into a space of quietness. Because in our waking life, it can be so chaotic at times. Just driving down the street, like right now, driving, and I'm bombarded with all this imagery, all these different shapes and colors and sounds and different signs trying to get my attention. And then when I go home and I rest and I relax, I go on my phone and I look and I see on social media all of these different perspectives of people and so on and so forth. So basically we're just bombarded with all this stuff. And then when you close your eyes and you go to sleep, all of that stuff begins to just kind of come up. All the fears, all the anxiety, all of the things that make you happy, all of that starts to mesh, and it begins to cloud the mind. When I say meditation has been helpful, it has allowed me to go into a space where I can just silence everything. And in the beginning, I wasn't able to silence it. In the beginning, I just had to let it run its play. And I had to just sit there and observe it. And the more I observed it, the more it quieted itself out and dissipated. But then I became able to, by will, make it quiet. And then I began also, through techniques that I learned online and reading in books, how to imprint a vision in my mind and hold it there and breathe life into it and activate it and act as if it's already here. And then I began to be able to work on how to manifest things into my life. But all of this was through meditation. All this was through being able to control my thoughts. And that, in fact, is really what meditation is. Controlling the mind and listening. In meditation, I've been in spaces that were not of this world. I've left the body and I've gone to other dimensions. And I know to someone that doesn't meditate, it sounds foolish, but these are real. I mean, I literally was there. And it's just one of those things that you just have to experience yourself. But the reason why I wanted to get on that is because in this life, everything is a sister, a brother, a cousin, an auntie, an uncle, a grandfather, a grandmother, a mother, a father to one another. A great cousin, a great aunt, a great uncle, a great grandparent. All of these things to one another. They all have a relationship to each other. Just as when I say every thought that comes into your mind is not always of God. Let's use this as an example. When you go into the dream world and you have a dream, and you wake up in the morning and you're like, wow, that was a really weird dream. I mean, what the heck was that about? And if you don't know your relationship with the God within, if you haven't studied that relationship, if that relationship has not been an intimate walk between you and the God within, you wouldn't be able to know if that dream was sent by God or if that dream was just some random dream, if you believe in randomness, or if it was sent by an opponent or another person. One thing about God is consistent. This is what I've seen in God. God is consistent. God doesn't like confusion. God is pretty consistent in God's approach, with me at least. If I have a dream and I awake from that dream and that dream was sent from God or even the ancestral realm, it's a feeling that the dream will leave with me. It's a way that it will imprint itself upon me that is consistent with the way that God sends dreams to me. And I think that'll be different for everyone. But for me, the way God lays a dream upon me, or the ancestral realm sends me a dream, has been consistent throughout my life. So when I awake from that dream, if the feeling that is lingering from that dream on me is not consistent with the feelings that I've had in the past with my relationship with God and the ancestral realm, I can say, okay, that might not be from God or the ancestral realm. If someone comes into my life and they are a blessing to me, it will show in my life some way. It might not show initially. There may be some hiccups in the beginning, because my ego may not want the person there, and that person may show up dressed as something else that I didn't imagine, so I don't accept or allow that person to move the way God or my ancestors would like them to move in my life. And that would be me causing the hiccup. But there will be something within me nudging me to keep this person around. Something in my subconscious, something in my spirit that will subtly speak to me, not suddenly, but subtly speak to me and tell me that this thing is worth pursuing or having. If it's not, it'll move in a way totally contradictory to the way that God and the ancestors send people into my life. It'll be a struggle to keep it. I won't understand it. It'll be confusing. It's kind of like being in a relationship with someone and you don't know if they love you or not. You know how you feel, but you just don't know for sure that if they love you or not. They can say it, or maybe you haven't gotten that far in the relationship where it's been spoken, so you're not like feeling confident in it. Or if you have and they say it, it doesn't really show, so it's not concrete in you. You're still iffy and on the edge with it. It's kind of like that when something shows up that is really not of God, but it shows up with power in your life. Why is this important, and how does it integrate with meditation? Well, meditating is controlling the mind. Meditating is being able to listen. Meditation is the ability to be able to void out all the chatter, all of the noise of the mind, and go within and listen to the God within. That is what meditation has been for me. So if we know that meditation voids out all the chatter, meditation allows me to have a one-on-one correspondence with the God within. If, say for instance, I have a dream and I'm doubtful of that dream, I don't know, I feel some kind of way about this dream. It was powerful, but it wasn't in the way God normally moves in my life, so I'm doubtful of it. I can pinpoint where that dream, if that dream emanated from God or elsewhere, just by not even meditating on it, but just by knowing how God works in my life and knowing the voice of God through my experiences in meditation and my experiences in tracing the hand of God in my life by way of all the meditations I've had before. Meditation is nothing but more than focused thought and quieting the mind and listening to the God within, knowing that voice. So based off of my experiences in interacting with the voice of God through meditation, and my experiences of tracing the hand of God in my life through meditation. I can tell if anything foreign is trying to access my kingdom based off of the activities I've had in meditation. This trick is as old as the hills, y'all. This is the oldest trick in the book for someone to try to send a thought form, an idea, or what have you into the mind while the mind is resting. It usually happens late at night or when you're asleep, because the firewalls are not as active in the mind. The mind is at rest, you're asleep, you're in the dream state. They usually wait till wee hours of the morning. A lot of people wait till 12 o'clock, but if you're a late sleeper like myself, I'm up still. But if you wait till 2 and 3 and 4 in the morning or something like that, if you're one of those people that are asleep at that time as well, you're in a deep sleep. So you're in, I don't know how to do that. You're in the REM phase of your sleep, and your defenses are a lot lower at that time. So they can imprint a thought, idea, or what have you in the mind without activating the firewalls. They'll have more of a success rate in doing it. And so what happens is you'll wake up and you'll be like, wow, I had the weirdest dream. And it wasn't, and you'll be like, wow, God, what does that mean? You're looking up all these different ideas on the internet, Googling what dreams mean and this and that, and it wasn't even of God. And the more you think about that dream, the more you shed light upon it, the more you give it energy and you activate it, the more powerful it becomes, and the deeper it begins to create roots in the mind. Whereas if you knew it wasn't of God, and you knew initially that it wasn't there to serve you, you would deny it all attention initially. You wouldn't fear it. You wouldn't do anything of it with it. You would deny it, thus giving it no power. It has nothing to feed off of. Or if you're really good, you'll know how to transform it, to make it do your will, because all it is energy that was sent to you by another that you could use to your benefit. It's kind of like, but some of these places in the world, these indigenous places, especially in Central America, were conquered because these people felt like there was some sort of a Messiah, some sort of God coming back. And they thought, okay, this God is going to come back at this particular time, within this particular season. We're going to be looking out for this God. And their enemies knew that they believed this as well. So what their enemies do, they created a play, and they boarded ships, and they sailed many seas to get to them and to act as imposters of this God that was supposed to come back, or this Messiah. And the people greeted them and welcomed them in. They didn't even know that they were their enemies. They had never seen these people before. Didn't even know that they were their enemies. And they came and overtook them and completely wiped them out, annihilated them. But they would have never stood a chance had they not known these people's ideology. They would have never embarked upon such a journey as to travel overseas as they did, nor had enough courage to do so and to face these people as they did, had they not been able to act as imposters of these people's God. Same way with the Trojan horse theory. You know, you got this Trojan horse that shows up, and it's supposedly some sort of gift. And, you know, it arrives at the gate of these people's kingdom, this huge horse. You can imagine how big it is. It had a whole army of men in it, in the bowels of it. So you can imagine how big it was. And they pushed this horse to the gate, and they said, we have a gift for the king and the queen. And all the army and the men came out and inspected it. And they looked it up and down. They searched it up and down, and they said, well, it must be a gift, because we don't see how it could be anything else. Not knowing the technology or the mindset of these people, because they've never been exposed to such technology, if you want to call it that, or ideology of hiding something within an item like that, a huge horse like that, hiding that many men in the bowels of it. And they pushed this horse all the way into the kingdom, deep within, to right where the king and queen were, making it easy for them to just all come out and attack directly. That's kind of how it is when people send you an idea or a dream. You don't know. Most people don't know the techniques of the opponent. They don't know that. So they're thinking, oh, well, I woke up from this dream and that was the weirdest dream. And they think about it all day. This dream is on their mind all day. They're scared of it now, because they're like, what does it mean? And they're feeding it energy, not knowing it's from the opponent. Because if they knew it, they would automatically deny it. Or you would like to think that they would, if they knew the tools to fight against it. But because they don't know the strategy nor the technique of the enemy, they feed it attention, not even knowing they're feeding it. And it just grows and grows and grows. And before you know it, it shows up in their life. Everything is not of God. Everything is not of God. And that's why I tell people, having a relationship with God is your single-handed most important, and yourself is your single-handed most important relationships in your life. There's no other relationship more valuable. Having a relationship with yourself and your God within is more important than having a relationship with your children. And that is the most important thing in this world. But if you can't have a relationship with the God within, nor yourself, you cannot have a relationship with anyone. You're worthless. Because anything and anyone can come upon you and overtake you. These are just things that I've learned along the way, friend, and that I share with you all in abundance because of the love that I have for you and the love that has been bestowed upon me. It's my obligation to do it. So I shoot from the hip, and I tell you what I learned late, early. You can take it or leave it. But yeah, be mindful of that. Be mindful of the things that show up in your life. Be mindful of the people. You have to be mindful of that. And this goes back to what I say. You got to be careful about who you allow to pray for you. I said this 2 years ago almost. You do. Everybody ain't right. Everybody's prayer is not to be prayed upon you. You thinking everybody comes with the right intentions. Everybody doesn't. And you don't want to give anyone that much power over you. We are all God's children. Not one of us is better than another. There are some of us that have more attention from God upon us because of our walk is different. And it requires more attention. I get that and I understand that. And I can respect that. But not one of us is loved more than another. That's a fact. And not one of us has more within us than the other. We all are born here with the same amount of spiritual energy. It's just that some people tap into it quicker or more than others. That's really all that is. So I just wanted to share that with you. That was on my spirit today. And I think it's vital to the success of each and every one of us in this life. Each and every one of us. So take some time today. I would highly recommend, and just learning how to sit within yourself and meditate. Being able to, to sit in a meditative state and calm your mind is an extremely empowering thing. And there's nothing, you can only build upon that. It can only get better. The more you do it, the more agile you get with it. The more you do it, the more you're able to focus your thoughts. Before you know it, if you Google meditation and you start learning different meditative techniques, I started with just visualizing a clock on the wall in my mind. I would close my eyes and I would visualize a clock ticking on the wall. And I could hear the tick. I could see the color of the wood. I see the numbers. I see all the different mechanisms on the inside of the clock moving. I see the paint on the wall. I can zone in and zone out. I can see the wall itself. When you begin to do these things and focus your thought, you just fine-tune them. And before you know it, you'll be able to smell smells that you imprint on the mind. And this is the foundation of manifestation. This is the foundation of creating change in this world. Just by yourself, sitting and thinking. We all have power, and the power is in the mind. Guard your thoughts. Guard your mind. Your mind is your kingdom. And you have to be very particular about who and what you allow within your kingdom. Everything that is sent to you in form of a thought or an image is not designed to build up your kingdom. Some things are premeditatively sent to you to rob your kingdom and to weaken your kingdom. You have to be just as anything else in life. The battle is for the mind, friend, because all springs from the mind. Don't want to be long-winded. I want to leave you with that today. We're loved more than we will ever know. Rest in that. Know that. If each one teach one what they learned late, that's highly valuable, we'd be so much better. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Peace and love.